Hey, puppy people, it's Cindy Scott with Dogs Etc. Dog Training. Just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about potty training and why your potty training isn't working. The number one reason you're having problems with number one and number two is confining and supervising. Iggy's demonstrating right there. You have to confine and supervise. Have to confine and supervise at all times. If your dog is not trustworthy yet, or if you have a brand new puppy, keep them confined or supervised. Crate training is fantastic for this. It makes your life so much easier. So if you can't be watching your dog, you put him in their crate. Now, my crate, we just took the doors off because the dogs use it as their little den, which tells you that the crate isn't punishment. It's a fun, safe place for your dog, unless you are misusing the crate and using it as punishment or not teaching them to like it. So teach your dog to love the crate. And if you can't be watching them, that's where they hang out. Send them to their room, the crate, with a little Kong. Stuff a Kong with some treats. Send them to their room with a stuffed peanut butter Kong. He's got two in there with him right now. He takes in there. But sending them to their room with this full of peanut butter and their meal and some other good treats, it's like sending your kid to their room with an Xbox and a laptop and, I don't know, virtual reality. What are the kids into these days? I don't know. But sending them to their room with something fun like that, so it's not a punishment. You're actually rewarding them for going in their crate. But if you can't be watching them, and by watching them, I mean you are literally following your dog around. What are they doing? Where are they? Where are they? I mean, watching them at all times, not letting them out of your sight for a second, because it literally takes 2 seconds to go behind the couch, take a pee, and come back, and you don't even realize that they've done it. So if you don't catch your dog having these accidents, it means you're not watching them. And I call them accidents because your dog doesn't know what they're supposed to do. So you have to teach them. And here's the thing. I've heard from a couple people recently, I don't know what the marketing is with potty pads, but there's no special magical ingredient that they put on pee-wee pads that make dogs automatically want to pee there. Sometimes breeders use them for the puppies, so they're not taking them outside with unvaccinated puppies where they may be exposed to things. So sometimes they develop that surface preference where they like to go on that surface, but there's no magical ingredient where you just spread the pee-wee pad out and the dog is going to automatically know to pee on that. It doesn't happen that way. And even if they're doing it at the breeder's house, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to do it at your house, okay? So if you can't be watching them, confine or supervise them. And using a crate, it makes it so much easier for you. So if you're not home, you can't be watching the dog, put them in the crate with a stuffed Kong, and they're going to be very content and they're going to be safe. They're not getting into trouble because not only does it keep them from peeing all over your house, but it keeps them from chewing things and possibly eating something that could send them to the emergency room or worse. So for their own safety and your sanity, crate your dog. If you are at home, watch them. Just be watching them, even tethering them to you. It's called umbilical cording. You take a leash and, the one end's connected to your dog, connect the other end to your belt loop or tie it around your waist. So you can't get distracted for 2 seconds. You just got a text message. You're checking your text message. That's a tongue twister. And then your dog slips into the dining room, pees, comes back. You don't even realize that it's been gone. So if you are finding accidents, if you are finding potty mistakes, it's your fault, not your dog's. I hate to be the buzzkill here, but you need to keep an eye on them. If your dog is getting into trouble and chewing things, you need to keep an eye on them. There's no substitute for that, especially if you have a dog that's new to you, whether it's a puppy or a rescue. Don't assume anything. What's the old saying about assuming things? It's true. But not only does it make it harder for you, but it could be life-threatening for your dog if they chew the wrong thing, if they get into the wrong thing. So crating your dog is actually one of the best things that you can do for your dog. It's going to keep him safe. It's going to keep you sane. And the more your dog is able to just poop and pee wherever they feel like it, that's the habit that you're creating. Where the dog isn't learning to hold it, they're learning just to go and find a corner to do their business in. So we want them to learn to hold it and go outside to do their business in the pee zone. Or if you have a potty station inside, whatever your potty station is, we want them to hold it and go there. And so not only with potty training is about going to the right place, but it's about holding it until you get to the right place. And the crate really works wonders for that. Make your life easy. Crate train your dog. Teach them to like it. I just want to boop his nose. He's got the most boopable nose. And keep an eye on your dog. Don't let them out of your sight. Having a new dog is like having a toddler. You wouldn't just let them run amok in your house. Well, I guess maybe some people do. I don't know. But you have to assume that a toddler doesn't know how to occupy themselves, and neither does your puppy. A toddler doesn't know where they're supposed to pee and poop. Neither does your puppy. They have to be taught that. But the more they're able to just do whatever they want to do, that's the habit that's forming, not the habit of going where you want them to go. And don't get mad at your dog, okay? If you cannot be watching them, if you cannot be confining them, you need to find something that's going to be sustainable for you. That's all there is to it. There's no shortcuts. Confine and supervise at all times. And the number one mistake I see people make is they give them too much freedom too soon. And the temptation is your dog will get better and you'll have no accidents because you're keeping them on a schedule and a routine. And then we'll go, oh, they got this. We can just let them run amok in the house. And then they start having accidents and then you get mad at the dog. You let them out too soon. You gave them too much freedom, and now we just need to move backwards. So if your dog is having some accidents, confine or supervise. I'm going to have t-shirts made. Confine or supervise your dog at all times. And the crate makes it so much easier to do so that you're not constantly watching your dog, because it is easy to get distracted. It's easy to think, oh, the dog is just laying there chewing their bone, but then we get an email or the phone rings or we get engrossed in working or whatever. So tethering them, umbilical cording is another option, but of course you can only do that when you're there supervising the dog. You don't even want to tether them in another room when you can't be watching them. And every time that you tether them or confine them, you give them a Kong. Stuff some really yummy munchies in a Kong so they're laying there doing that and they're perfectly content. So don't look at it as a punishment. Look at it as sending your teenager to their room with a bunch of video games. Can't get them out of their room, right? Okay. So confine or supervise. And if you're still having accidents, confine and supervise. That's step number one. If you tell me that, oh, my dog is pooping and peeing all over the house, first thing I'm going to tell you is, why weren't you watching them? Okay? Confine or supervise. And the same thing goes with getting into mischief, chewing things, even counter surfing. Okay? All of that tells me that your dog has too much freedom. It also tells me that your dog's a little bit bored and needs more exercise, but that's a subject for another day. Today, I want you to keep in mind confining or supervising. And look, I mean, Iggy loves it. He goes in there all on his own. You know, sometimes Rudy's in there. The cat goes in there. It's a natural inclination for your dog to like to be in a den. They're den animals. They like that coziness. Okay, so so confine and supervise. I think it's lunchtime. I think that's what he's trying to tell me. You know. Oh, speaking of the cat, he just came out too. Yep, he's going that way. Yeah, it is lunchtime. I gotta feed the critters here. So so if you're having accidents, confine or supervise. Okay, so go play with your dog. Till next time.